Being a good Southern boy, there's a couple things that I ain't. I ain't afraid of no ghosts. I ain't your holla back girl, and I ain't falling for this banana in the tailpipe story dealing with the president of Liberia. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to fall in. I'm not going to be suckered for this one. I'm not going to talk about how on yesterday, the 9th of July, a White House lunch had with West African leaders with President Trump, who spoke to the Liberian President Joseph Boakai as he spoke to him doing the platitudes with a reply of such good English, such beautiful. Where did you learn to speak so beautifully? We're not going to go into how he actually replied to him. They learned Liberia English in Liberia, where English is the official language and has been since it was founded in 1847 by freed slaves from the United States who spoke English. We're not going to talk about the backlash that came about, although swift and kind of swept under the rug because other world things are going on that we should be talking about. But all the critics that actually called it condescending and ignorant, and some people calling it peak ignorance, our good friend Representative Jasmine Crockett. We're not going to go into that today, though. But also shows that Donald Trump doesn't really understand history, especially African history and things that have to do with us, because Liberia was founded by freed slaves from the Civil War. You know, it's the president he's almost as good as or a little better than being Lincoln, that guy. Many voices in Liberia also spoke to this. We're not going to deal with them, though, because they had opposition figures and describing the tone as disrespectful and how Donald Trump is not exactly rooted in the language of his own, not so much English, but of his own as in America, and how this nation built off the blood, literally, of freed slaves is a testament to America. No, we're not going there. We're not going to talk about how the White House officials and Liberian foreign ministers actually had to defend the comment as genuine praise, pointing that Boakai remained unoffended. He, of course, did the Prime Minister of Canada thing, not the President of Ukraine thing, not the President of South Africa thing. Even when the President of South Africa had white people in there saying, no, Mr. President, there aren't white people being murdered by black folks. We're white folks, and we're okay with that. We're not going there, though. We're not talking about how the people that were fighting for Trump in this emphasized that the shared linguistic ties and reflecting how the appreciation of Liberians, Americans rooted in English accents are actually acceptable. We're not going to talk about how that's actually a positive, or at least how they wanted to make Trump sound like he was calling it positive, because other African nations not founded by slaves basically don't have the best English accents or something. We won't really discuss other observers, basically framing the exchange as another word that we definitely won't talk about, the cultural insensitivity from U.S. leaders towards African natures. We're not going to talk about how the white guys here seen the black guys there as lower and lesser, and yeah, we're not going there in this one. We're going to fight that urge to go down that rabbit hole. But beyond the gaffe, the incident actually highlights persistent diplomatic missteps towards Africa, not just as U.S. aid and engagement shift in total, just in the evaluation of how respectful and awareness our nation of us, U.S., deals with nations in Africa. And what's really, really kind of weird about it, because we, U.S., are pulling away from being the big brothers and the kind-hearted folks of the world, many of these nations in Africa are looking to Russia and China to be their big brothers and take care of them. So yes, we are throwing less aid in some of these places, some of these S-hole places. That part we definitely will talk about. That part we won't disregard, that he called them those places. But we have to think about how we do things. And if President Trump, being endowed by English by a man from a person who was basically raised in a nation that's been speaking English for 100 years, more power to him.